What's up, Power Rankings Week 4. Actually, not a whole lot of change this week. I try to look a little bit more into than just the win-losses. I try to see how teams are actually performing. You could run into somebody with a tough week, etc. So, that being said, here we go. So, Millie stays in the bottom spot, but there's some life here. He had a rough loss against Trev, a lot of close categories, and the record was a lot worse than it looked. But he should feel good about this one. Numbers really on both sides of the ball were pretty ridiculous. A 958 ops plus a .73 whip. I think there's actually a little bit of room for optimism here. Goldie and Rosario are good players. Mookie, I think, is best to come. And I think he's got some good young pitching. Worried about those young arms fading late in the year, though. Dave stays in the number 11 spot. His average and ops are okay, but runs, bombs, RBIs, not great. A lot of stolen bases every week, so that's a good category for him. Rendon should be back soon. Great pickup with Hunter Dozier. He was an awful fantasy player last year, and if he can turn it around, he'd be a steal. But he stays in 11 at 10. Really, sets could have moved up this week, but since there's not a whole lot of movement in general, he stays in 10, but this is a pretty good week. He ran into a struggling offense with Aaron, but he should feel good about this. He had a .92 whip for the week. He had some good matchups on the pitching end. I mean, Herman was facing the Giants, and the Giants are awful, but got to tip the cap. Good week for his team, good win. Moved them up all the way to 5th place, I think, in the standings. Impressive there. Jared will sit at number 9. Takes a couple of, it was close. Yeah, he played me this week. It was 7-5, but it was a lot of categories were close. Domingo Santana seems for real this year. Unfortunately, Jesus Aguilar is definitely not repeating his 2018 year. Kluber struggled, but Nola got back to normal. Big week for Mel coming up. Aaron, rough 9-2 loss. Sanchez can hit the absolute crap out of the ball. But offensively, I just don't think he's going to be able to hang for much of the year. Cody Allen is basically a wasted draft pick now, unfortunately. Everyone's subject to a bad week. Is this Aaron's real team or not? We'll see. A lot of low innings pitched. Seen that a lot from Aaron this year. Shows a lack of confidence in pitching staff. It's too bad Snell and Scherzer can't just throw every game. Clough. Stock's kind of going down, even though he stays in his same spots in the ranking, the 5 spot, 6 spot, whatever. He takes a rough loss against Millie's squad, who really found themselves. He would have beat some teams, but the descent continues for Clough. Since his stats weren't terrible, that's why I didn't drop him. But offense still concerns me a little bit moving forward. Next is Nate in the 6th spot. Bounce back week offensively, double digit home runs, a little bit more RBIs and things like that. A couple trades been made for Nate's team. The pitching was solid. Still waiting on Syndergaard to kind of do his thing, though. He has yet to have a really good start. Scott stays in the number 5 spot. On the surface, offense looks okay, but kind of low on power. 6 bombs, RBIs in the 30s. That's a couple weeks in a row now, so we're kind of looking for his offense to bounce back. Vladdy Jr., first week with him, first few days with him, really he should start producing soon. I mean, the guy is an incredible talent. Got hurt with the injury bug a little bit this week. Losing Haniger, I know day-to-day LeMahieu, I think, was the other one. Strategic pitching continues to be effective. Lots of stolen bases this week, but a lot of those stolen bases are actually going to be gone in the upcoming week. Gordy, I've been kind of up on his team all year, but taking a look at his team now, losing Clint Frazier to the DL now kind of makes his lineup really thin, especially without Stanton and Marte. Obviously, when he gets those two back, it'll be a good boost. Bauer is awesome. Trevor Bauer is really, he's awesome on the mound. Strasburg had a solid week. If that continues, he's got a nice 1-2 punch there. I'm not sure if he can be a consistent number 2. So not as much love for Gordy this week. Matt goes down 1. Not necessarily a terrible week. Took a little bit of a step back offensively. We'll take it as a blip for now. The pitching is solid. Alvarado, the closer for the Rays, is unbelievable. Nasty. One of the nastiest pitchers in the big league. So that's going to be an asset for him moving forward. Trev, down. He moves down a spot. This is kind of the big news this week. You can kind of figure out the name. That'll be at number 1 based off of Trev being at number 2. Can't have a worse pitching week. It was a 6-6 tie versus Matt, so 2 good teams going at it. But he had an team ERA for the week in the 6s. That's brutal. Those wild card arms that we talked about last week, Gausman, Rodon, Archer hits the DL, Lucchesi, all had terrible weeks, and I'm worried that could actually be more the norm for Trev, which is a little scary. Did trade Shane Green to Gordy to pick up another starter. Elu, congrats, man. Auto draft team, but he's taken it and made it his own a little bit. Made a couple of moves and it's paying off. He's number 1. He's probably feeling pretty good about his team right now. Strong offensive showing, 46 runs scored. That's pretty impressive. 15 bombs. He's definitely a volume pitching guy. 76 Ks. Darvish with a spark of brilliance. If that continues, the league is in trouble. I thought the pitching would be his downfall, but so far it hasn't been. And he's here to stay if that continues. Good luck this week, boys.